Welcome back to Get Real. This is your host, Erin Thomason. I am joined today by Mike McCormick.
Hi, Erin.
Thank you, Mike. And we're here with Mike McManus and Lexi Winter from Keller Williams, Boston Metro West in Framingham.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So happy to have you here. So, Lexi, you've been on the show before, and Mike, you have not.
I have not.
So you've been working with Lexi for 8-9 months, maybe?
Yeah, about 8 months.
Okay. So I think we're going to focus a little bit more on you today.
Okay.
Not that we don't love Lexi, but we already love Lexi, and now we're going to love Mike too. So tell us, either of you, about your market and kind of what you've been focusing on lately.
I guess I'll start. So I work with buyers. I am on the Winter Property Realty Group as the lead buyer specialist. I would say my market, I guess, is pretty much all of Massachusetts, except for anything west of Worcester.
Okay.
I tend to stay a little bit closer to the east.
Okay.
Area,
So not all of
territory.
Massachusetts at all, like Massachusetts cut in half?
Yeah, let's go with
Okay.
that.
I just want to be clear.
Put a line through Worcester, and I'll take the right side.
Okay. All right. Just to be clear. So primarily buyers,
Yep.
because you're on the team as a buyer's agent. Yep. Okay. So Lexi, you are listing, and
Yes, exactly.
Mike helps you out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the nice part about us starting with, younger millennials being a huge part of our, buyer group is we turn them from renters to buyers. So we really needed to have someone who specializes and knows the buyer process like the back of their hand. And Michael can definitely, give the best to our clients.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. That's good. You're on our team, so that's a good thing. So you're targeting first-time buyers. How are you approaching that at this point? I think last time you talked a little bit about your outreach efforts. What are you focusing on now that Mike has joined the team?
We do a lot, actually. We really try to keep our schedule super busy with doing any and everything we can, I want to say. Our team now consists of four of us. So we have, again, me. I started the team originally, and I really have now focused on listings. We have Mike as a buyer's agent. We have Brian as a buyer's agent. And then we have Paulina, who is everything on the back end, transaction coordination, marketing, and event coordination. So by event coordination, we do a lot of first-time home buyer seminars, which is probably one of our most exciting and fun things that we do. It's educational, it's fun, you can network and meet people. So that it really touches like the surface of what we do to generate, educating our first-time home buyers and meeting them. And then we do a bunch of appreciation events, and we do food drives, and we do blood drives, and anything, where we can get involved in the community to meet people and educate them about the home buying process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's, like anything in particular that first-time home buyers really need to know, or they almost always never know when they come into your classes and you're able to share that with them?
I mean, I think you have like a huge variety of first-time home buyers. You have people who think they know a lot because of what they're reading online, which is great. They start off a little educated.
Educating yourself is good,
it's
right?
Like, when you look at Wikipedia and you can't figure out if it's factual
right.
Yeah. So they come with a little bit of knowledge, and we just have to, divide the myths from the truths.
Yeah.
And then we have buyers that simply know nothing. So I think that's why making sure that you have like a buyer's agent like Michael who makes sure he knows everything from our job as a realtor to the lending part. I mean, and being confident in our attorney. Our whole team at this point has to be helping the first time home buyer. There's so many pieces to understand, and until you find a buyer's agent that is diving into each part of that with you, people get lost very easily.
Yep.
I think a lot of first time home buyers, we've actually scooped up other clients from other agents because they were simply so confused, and their agent was either not showing them properties or forgot to mention closing costs, and it's just things that are getting skipped, and people, you wonder why you hear about these first-time homebuyers having terrible experiences or saying, I don't know anything about it. It's like our job is to educate you on all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So,
well, I think maybe demographic plays a big part of that too, because you guys are young and you're out there. And I think that a lot of times folks are more comfortable talking to people their own age, and where they might feel confident admitting that they don't know something, or might not feel confident, to someone maybe older. If you're chatting together, then they can ask the questions that they've been wondering.
Yeah, I think communication's huge with that too.
Yeah.
And like nowadays texting is so much more of the way that everyone's talking. And I think with my buyers, especially if they have a question at 7 p.m. and whether this is good for my health or not, I'm going to probably answer the question.
7 p.m. is pretty
It's not too
conservative.
bad.
I think you're safe
The
there.
10 p.m. text I might not answer.
Yeah, it's
but-
like 7:30 your bedtime. Is that when you're
Yeah,
like,
like,
brush your teeth
put
and
my show
stuff?
on.
Yeah, just like, excuse me, I have my slippers
Put
on
my mask
already.
on.
I can't possibly. But so I found, I haven't done a ton of those, but I find that a lot of times people don't even realize that they're able to buy. They think that they're going to be renting for the next 10, 15 years because of student loans or whatever. And a lot of people are waiting a lot longer to leave their family's house too, thinking that they're not prepared. But once you get into the conversation with them, they realize that there are lots of opportunities that they didn't realize. In some cases, maybe starting with a multi instead of starting with a single. And then that's a good move for your future as an investment. You can learn a lot and not be paying someone else's mortgage, even if you're afraid of kind of having that commitment to a mortgage payment. So
definitely.
But those are conversations that you don't necessarily have unless you're chatting with somebody, casually.
And I think like a really big one that we try to highlight at our home buying seminars is that being a first-time home buyer, you are actually in such a strong buying position because you don't have any other property to sell. So as
There's
a
no
listing agent, and
contingencies.
I'm reviewing offers here all the time, if I get two very, very similar offers, and offer A, is for full asking and contingent upon the sale of 123 Main Street, and then offer B is full asking with no contingency on a home sale. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, I don't want to be floating two deals, right? So our first-time home buyers who are living, with mom or dad still, or they're renting and they're in a lease, or even month to month. I mean, I don't think they realize that not having something to sell actually puts them in a really strong buying position, especially once you have your pre-approval with a fantastic lender.
There you go, which is
Ross Mortgage, baby.
Yep.
And that's important too. Finding a lender who, pre-approves you correctly, collects all your documents up front. It seems really tedious and a long, stressful process, but the pre-approval is the first step. If you can't get the loan, you can't buy the home. And I think once they go through that difficult, first process, the rest really becomes kind of easy because you have a team that's holding your hand the entire time. So once you find out that you're qualified to buy, we try to turn it into something really fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is something really fun and exciting as long as you have the right people that you feel comfortable reaching out to at no later than 7:30.
7:30. Wow. If Mike is not answering you, please reach out to Lexi Winter, who is
I'll give you till time.
up until 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Yeah. Wow. Party.
Sometimes.
I was going to say something.
I think the biggest thing with the rental aspect with buying, I mean, some of these rentals, their move-in costs are a down payment at 3% for a first-time home buyer. So we've done a couple of transactions where we're able to take people that are actually looking at rentals, hook them up with our fabulous lender over there, Mike.
Right.
And then we get them actually into a home purchase.
Because if they've been able to accumulate first, last, and security for an apartment in any of the, larger cities in Mass.
Yep.
That's a down payment.
Yep.
So I remember now why I paused. Sorry, everyone. In terms of lending, you said get with a good lender, Lexi. So do you have you noticed with the younger population, we live online, there's lots of opportunities to get pre-approved online.
Certainly.
Do you have an opinion on that? Have you experienced anything? Well, because this is something that I think people don't really understand, that there is a difference.
Yes.
So talk about that.
And I'm not going to sit here and
we're not going to drop names. No, not at all. Not at all. But just
we
illustrate.
Don't do that.
And
However,
in terms of offer attractiveness to the other side.
Correct.
Just,
correct. I mean, it like when you're reviewing offers as a listing agent, I definitely will call the mortgage lender and find out what I can. But there are names out there that we know they're just simply not following through with accurate stuff from the beginning. So that being said, if you are sitting in your pajamas one night and you're applying to an online
at 7:30 p.m.
right, an online, loan, if they're not collecting documents, they're not running your credit, and they spit out some pre-qual is likely what you're going to have in your email with, some facade numbers. It's really just inaccurate and kind of a waste of your time at that point, because
it might turn out fantastic, but the other side of that I've found is that a lot of sellers won't entertain an offer that's using one of those lenders. And so even if it does turn out to be a unicorn of a transaction in terms of, this type of lender, you're still up against, in an already really, kind of tough market, you're up against some obstacles when you're delivering that kind of
certainly
pre-approval, I think. So that's something to consider.
And again,
people want to position themselves
situations, which is what you could be dealing with in the spring here. I mean, it's very common to be up against other offers, and like you have to have a good lender who's going to reach out, be a physical person to the listing agent as well. You nailed it. We definitely look at where the money's coming from.
Right.
I think we've all heard horror stories about getting through transactions and not making it to the closing table. So if you need a recommendation, please talk to your realtor before applying online.
There you go. So, Mike, I want to hear about this weird story you were talking about. Something about land and, a friend. Like, just tell us about this. Sounds interesting.
So I was in a transaction with a client who was fabulous home. It was actually a flip. They did a really good job on the house, pretty much completely fresh and new home from top to bottom. One place they decided to take a few little shortcuts was the basement.
Okay. A few little shortcuts. What does that mean?
So we go for our showing, and we actually stepped into the basement and stepped into a nice little inch of water.
Okay. Yeah.
But listing agent reassured me that they were going to do this system with this whole thing. I had never heard of it before.
And
and there was, in my head, I'm thinking, a sump pump. And she's like, no, it doesn't need a sump pump. So in my head now, I'm like, okay, well, when we get this offer in and we get it accepted and I do my part, when we do home inspection, I'm going to bring in my reinforcement. So
So you went to the fire station, brought a hose back.
I got my bucket. So. No, so we ended up, we got a couple of basement specialists in there to take a look, and lo and behold, it needed a sump pump.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my pride and joy story that I like to tell people that, I'm able to work on their behalf and
you save someone from basement drowning.
Yeah. And
insurance
that's
claim.
a really good,
I think you also having a great background as a buyer's agent really sets you apart from other buyer's agents.
Yeah, so I grew up around construction. My dad worked in general contracting. So I was always around it. That was my job from 10 years old to now even. I still do side jobs with them and stuff. So
there's a lot that you can pick up on, walking through. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I do my best to keep my mouth shut when needed.
But
I put my input when I see they want it.
Well, it is nice.
But when it's important to speak up, it sounds like you do. So that's good.
It's a good feeling to have when you point things out to your buyers during a showing, and then the home inspector comes in and says the exact same thing you did. And you're like,
vindicated.
I think I know that.
We had a home inspection yesterday, and the client was like, I didn't even need a home inspection because you pointed out everything you already pointed out.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
Well, now you had the inspector come in who's licensed to tell you the same thing.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what he's there for.
Yeah.
Right. And you have that to fall back on because if you waive that, then...
Of course. I would never.
Bummer.
Depending on a situation.
Yeah, you can never say never, but...
say never.
I do love home inspections.
Just feel like that's,
It's
a funny
fun.
thing on like at your dating profile. Like, what do you really love? Well, I love long walks and home
Home
inspections.
inspections.
I love to be in an attic during a home
I
inspection.
love crawl
But
spaces.
not the basement.
I locked myself in a crawl space once,
You did.
and no one was at the property.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was on
Yeah.
social media though.
Yeah. I can record it for the world.
So you weren't like truly alone.
Well,
You were
I
just-
was alone.
For how long?
Like 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's traumatic.
Hey, I know you guys do a lot of stuff to kind of give back to the community. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the things you do?
Sure.
Yeah. We just really, we do love to stay busy, and my whole team is from Framingham, so we really like to do anything in the Metro West and connect with anyone who's, from the Metro West area. So, I have a whole list of things, but again, we do door knock. Anytime we have a listing, we door knock the neighborhood of 100 homes, and we will do a food drive around the neighborhood. So we can talk to the neighbors, because I don't think a lot of people realize that neighbors help sell homes. They have friends or family looking to get into the great neighborhood that they've raised their kids in. And so we definitely make sure to educate neighbors about that. So we'll start with food drives. We host blood drives. Mike does volunteering. Our other agent does volunteering. We will drop off lunches to fire stations, police stations, teachers. We're trying to get into talk to hospitals right now too. So, any way that we can really get involved and give back is stuff that we love to do. And we're part of a Homes for Heroes program. So we try and, expose that as well, and just let people know what benefits there are available.
I think that sets you apart too, because I feel like not a lot of agents are doing that much work in the community that they're working in.
Yep.
So when they see your face consistently around, then they know that you're invested. And so that's probably part of how you get your business, is just knowing that, you are committed to building that community. So
there was someone that it stuck in my head, and she was like, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. People want to work with you when they see you passionate about,
Helping everybody. and
Exactly,
giving back. And
exactly.
when you
It's-
love what you do, people.
Yeah, we're not out here preaching winter properties, Keller Williams. We're out here just, trying to get involved in things that we actually like. Like Mike's volunteering is with puppies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Volunteer at a dog shelter.
And
Yeah.
how do you not love that? And then you just meet people that way, because, you're helping these dogs get into great homes. And, is it a home that they're renting at and they can't have a dog at, and now they need to purchase something? I don't know. That's a conversation that just comes up sometimes. So
before we're just about out of time, but I want to give out Lexi and Mike's contact info. Mike's cell phone is 508-250-1124. And Lexi is 508-904-1667. But check them out on social media. They are everywhere. Lexi is pretty much everywhere. Is that right?
Even when she's locked in crawl spaces.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So they're accessible. Texting after 7:30 is likely okay.
It is
just
totally fine.
jokes here.
Depending who you
So
are.
yeah, right.
If not, you can just start calling him 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that persistence is key. I think.
Right.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
I
you
think
so much.
that people will really benefit from chatting with you about the Metro West market, and especially first-time home buyers. So I look forward to seeing everything you're doing in the community.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Glad to
Thank
have you.
you for having
Thank
us
you.
again. Appreciate it.
We'll be back after this with more Get Real.